그냥 이제 저희가 스프링 때는 이제 싸움 같은 건 되게 잘했는데 이제 되게 운영 같은 면에서 되게 많이 부족했거든요. 근데 이제 스프링과 비교해서 그런 면들이 되게 많이 나아졌기 때문에 지금 상태도 좋아 보이고 이제 성적도 잘 나오고 있다고 생각하고 있어요. TOP는 지금 전 시즌에 비해서 되게 잘하고 있다고 생각하고 지금 서부든 동부든 모두 포함해서 어디에도 꿀리지 않는 팀이라고 생각해요.
I don't know if it was really their Marco game that came in question in game 1. I think it was more like everything else. I think part of the problem was the draft actually in game 1.
Well, a little bit, but then remember this. Talon did find him a few times, so that's a game that he was able to get locked down tight. But 100% with home getting added to the mix, I feel like JD's composition, their mid-game has gotten a little bit better. Remember one of the graphs that we did see from stats, that we did see from the desk a little earlier on, was the fact that this team is incredibly bloody. The fact that we've seen a lot of skirmishing from the team, but the problem is their average game time, their win time is actually fairly low, or at least they're 10th place, even though they are the second place team in the league. A lot of that comes down to the fact that they've been scaling with their AD carry, but a lot of it's also come down to the fact that even though they've been working on their macro play, it's not where home wants it to be currently. It needs to get better, and if the last game's any indicator, the early game needs to get bucked up a little bit. So we need to see if that is a little bit better going up against TOP.
Yeah, I think the thing for me was just the fact they were experimenting in game 1. Typically, we see them experiment in game 2 when they have the first initial win, which they do more often than not, to be fair. But let's get into Champions League number 2, and this is where it is basically crunch time for them. TOP will ban away the Camille, the Zoe, and the Talia. On the opposite side, it will be a Talon ban here from JD, along with an Aatrox and a Gragas.
And that's the ticker right there. Kicker as well. The fact that Talon, all of them, the fact that Talon got banned here, because although that was an experimental composition, it was just a solo victory from Korn with the Talon pick up against Lulu. There's nothing experimental about Lulu. He just got rocked in lane by the pick. He doesn't want to see it anymore. So now it's going to be a challenge on the Korn of what he picks next.
Zed. I don't know what he picks, but there's a good there's a good chance that he picks up another assassin. We'll see. Swain will be the first pick here from TOP with Talia and Aatrox off the table, and JD will actually just lock in the Lovers bottom lane.
I will say this one thing. Now Blade QQ on Twitter did say there's a possibility he might play Wukong only because
I saw that.
Fnatic got that one thing.
Yeah, I saw it in Europe.
A shout out to Fnatic that they could do it, but no, it's not going to happen. No one else playing Wukong. It's not going to happen. It's purely a counter pick.
What happened to reliable Raz? Like you always leave yourself open for these things. We've got ourselves. I want to say today. We've got ourselves an Aurelia. That's Sejuani.
Oh, there we go. Korn can play the Aurelia fairly well, so expect it to be a mid lane Korn.
Hey.
Ooh.
That's the LeBlanc in the mid lane coming out from Yugao.
See, this is interesting. So Aurelia will not die to this pick because secondary tree you go into is Resolve.
Yep.
You're very sturdy in the mid lane pick. After you get your Trinity Force, it's actually incredibly difficult for the LeBlanc to kill you. But you will get some openings to leave the lane. So this is where JD, once again, Yagao is looking to leave, try and find an opportunity up in the top side of the map, depending on what Zoom picks for himself, because he still has counter pick here.
He does indeed. Got a Kled ban right there from JD, just in case they decide to bring it into the top lane. Or hey, even if they swap up the Aurelia's positioning and shove it into the mid lane as well, just get it off the board. Alice is going to follow suit as well, none of that for Cat. And Lee Sin, a ban here against Klid. Now Klid is one of the two big Lee Sin players in the league. If you're looking at Flawless and Klid, they are definitely the OG one tricks. Yeah. So get that one out of here.
It's hilarious. Remember, Klid did play the Lee Sin fairly recently and carried on the pick, so you do have to respect it just a little bit. I love the fact that JD recognized, as you mentioned, that the Aurelia couldn't go into the top side of the map. You can pick it up. We don't know what he's been picking up in the solo queue. So it's a big question mark there. And the Kled demolishes LeBlanc in lane. Can itemize super well into the pick. So Yagao, leaving himself a little bit open, just decides that while he's picking up the LeBlanc for the matchup, saying that I don't want the Kled, ain't gonna happen.
We're gonna get ourselves an Olaf actually right here for Klid. Now, I feel like Olaf has definitely become definitely a Klid pick as of late. If we just get Lee Sin, then I have seen a bunch of Olaf play from him. TOP back on their side. Looking down at potentially another Gnar. Did like it in that first game from Moyu, especially just diffusing a lot of those ganks that came out from Klid. Really nice in the top side, because that was like 3 or 4 ganks that happened top side laning phase that he all managed to stop.
Yeah, Moyu's done himself a real good job in the first game, so I hope he decides to go into game 2 with the same fresh mindset that he can duck out a lot of the pressure. That being said, XX, depending on what we see here in the bottom lane, if that's going to be a Swain where it should be, then you know what? XX could just play for the top side. Finally get Moyu have that pressure while he's playing Gnar. So we'd have to see what JD picks on the top side of the map. Can be a Gangplank, put that out there. And if it's a GP, then it's diveable.
And again, we get the Swain and the Pike combination. Loved it in that first game. A lot of potential right there as well, so we'll just stick with it. If it ain't broke, why fix it? And again, Gnar into the top side. The only real change right here is jungle and mid. Back up to JD though. They are looking for probably a top laner here to round out their roster, I reckon. And that will be Ornn for Zoom.
Really? On his birthday, you're going to pick him?
Tonk?
Feels bad.
Feels bad, man. Where's the Yorick?
At least they've given themselves a late game style. So remember, Olaf, while he is a fantastic early game jungler, falls off like a brick later on in the game. So giving the Ornn pick makes it so Loken, Mao can play fairly strong in the backside, while Zoom can tank incredibly well front to back. So this is a really good front to back composition, and Loken can feel comfortable with the frontliners that she has available.
Yeah, I'll be honest, this feels much more JD to me. It feels a lot better to see them draft something like this. You've got a mage in the mid lane, you've got a traditional ADC in the bottom side with strong protection and engage potential coming out from Mao. Top side of the map, you've got cleared on a jungler that can actually do some real damage in the early game. Like, this feels like a JD composition.
Yep, just remember now, we all eyes on towards Clid, because last game, it's not like he didn't have an early game jungler. Talia's fantastic for that. But this one is such a snowballing champion, 60%, a little bit above that win rate right now, the LPL in this split. A lot of it comes down to this few Olaf junglers that we have are incredible on the pick. Clid is one of them, and it just comes down to, can he find the Sejuani in the jungle? Can he find a proper gank in the mid lane, because there's actual kill pressure now that he has the lockdown with the LeBlanc. LeBlanc into the Aurelia alone is difficult. Add Olaf into the mix, who doesn't have a hard CC, but definitely comes in with a lot of the damage possible. So now Olaf has gank potential mid and bottom lane, so I really like what I see in the early game for JD.
Yeah, and then plus when you get into that mid game, when you get into skirmishes and team fights, you've got Ornn there as well for the initiate, and you've got a front line on top of that as well for the Xayah. It feels good right here from JD. Now, if I'm taking a step back though, there's a couple question mark pings from me over just the strategy of this series, because if you're dropping game one, or there's a potential to drop it because of you experimenting on stage, typically we see this before when you go into the second game. Now, if TOP just randomly get a good start, randomly just come in with that haymaker and just drop them in game two, TOP could just take the series. So it's a little bit risky as a play. I mean, of course, TOP 3-6 right now compared to the 8-1. You said second in the league here from JD. So obviously it's an uphill struggle for them, but there's a chance is what I'm saying.
There's a chance. There is a chance. Remember, when you get to this point, 8-2 right now in the standings, as you mentioned, you can find that room to experiment and play on stage. This time around, going back. Don't wave the white flag immediately.
Give them a thumbs up. There we go. Hand it over to the crowd.
Look, I didn't see a mic. I just
That's
saw
true.
his hands.
Yeah. That's fine. You win. I yield. That's true. He's using it as his hand or a megaphone.
There we go.
Take him off him. One man cannot yell that loud. It's impossible.
They stopped him from bringing any other tools. He's like, I only need my hands.
Yep. Give him anything else, we'll be blasting. All the glass would shatter in the stadium.
He's multi-talented. Those hands could do a lot of work. Either if anybody tries to step on him, he can use his hands. Or, of course,
throwing hands.
Just throwing hands or using his hands to chant.
Crazy.
Single everybody.
100th game coming in here for Chocho. Congratulations to him. On the opposite cycle is going to be starting off on the popcorn chicken. Going to be grabbing this one. And on the opposite side, going to be a start on the bottom side of the map right here for XX. Going to be late to lane here, Chocho and Cat.
I like the stuff from Olaf's, ordinarily starting on the Raptor camp. Does a lot of damage on towards the Olaf, so he actually gets a little bit of a faster clear based off his passive. So, and he can actually stay at the top side a little bit longer if he chooses to. So some of the gank pathing he can actually go for is, I guess he's just going straight for the Krugs, which is incredible. If you do your full top side clear and then go towards the, immediately on towards the Skull Crab and invade, you're going to definitely be at a higher level towards XX. And remember, Skull Crab gives you a lot of HP, so while he's fairly low now, he's going to be in skirmishing range when he actually gets to it. That being said, it's not going to happen. Go for an early base.
Yeah, actually just doing top side. Go back. May move towards the bottom side from there. Mao unlucky, just on the very edge right there, doesn't manage to connect, and that's the annoying combo coming in for Pyke and Swain right there. Bone Skewer into the tug.
And that was just a level 1 combo. Once you ping level 2, as they just did, you can see how difficult it is to deal with it. A lot of pro players find this as the most annoying dual lane to actually deal with because they don't push. That's the biggest thing about the Pyke Swain lane, is that they get pushed into quite frequently. In this lane especially, it's the fear of you get hit by one.
Crispy.
You get hit by one and you just fall through. Oh
Less
my
crispy.
god.
Significantly less crispy. Okay. Korn definitely messed that up on the latter side of that one. But started it off well. Almost gets dropped in the mid lane. Has to burn the cleanse right there into Yagal's Ignite. Now Clid is staring down into the bottom lane. He's going to sneak his way into this brush. And now he's less sneaky. He's charging into the bottom lane. Flash out of the way. Oh my god, Chocho just gets obliterated underneath the tower. Here comes the teleport down into the bottom lane. Nice bone skewer down to Clid. Could secure the return kill. Flash over the wall, but he will burn out from Cat's Ignite.
Here's another TP. Of course, that just means Moyu needs to get the heck up out of here. Really good for Moyu to get a push up and towards the top side so he's available for the TP bottom lane so they can get something back out of that play. It looked really risky for a dive, but it paid off. It was one of those dives that you look towards, and Pyke and Swain are usually incredible at dealing with those dives because there's so much CC potential. You miss one. If one person takes aggro on turret, they thought in that instance it was Mao. It wasn't. Then they would have been able to, of course, at least get a Pyke Q on him. Something didn't happen.
I mean, the big thing right there was the fact that, oh, meanwhile in the mid lane, here comes Clayton from the bottom side. Korn turning onto Yagal. Oh! Gives him the juke. That's going to be a kill for Clid.
And he flashed forward. That's the tilt flash right there. You can see it in the player cam. Ain't happy about that.
I mean, you can just see the difference when Yagal is playing something he's comfortable on. Night and day difference coming in from that first game, this LeBlanc versus the Lulu. Actually, this is really nice here from Yagal as well. Freezes the wave just in the perfect place for himself. Forward ward as well. This lane could not be going better for this LeBlanc.
Yeah, and he's half cooldown off of his Ignite, so you can already see that being a play that they're conducting with Clid once he comes back at it. So mid lane's already being a weakness for TOP now that the Talon has been struck out of the equation. So I like what I see here coming into the early game immediately from JD.
It's really unfortunate though, because part of that was set up by Korn in the early phase of the game when he was pushing against the tower, taking a bunch of that harass, looting his cleanse. And that was just a problem in the 1 versus 1, because he also started for the blade right there instead of the shield into Yagal's LeBlanc, and that's usually indicative of a stronger matchup right there, but now has had to go for double laning items and is going to be delaying his build. So Yagal being pretty having to CS with the duet. That feels real bad. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, looking for a knock-up on to Chocho. He's going to be dropped to half. Flash forwards from Loken. Aggressive play right here. Finds a double dagger and the kill. Nothing that Cat can do.
Just that easy. Didn't have flash, so that's a long way back to your tower. Loken's going to expend his own to get the kill. And he doesn't have TP. Remember, Chocho burnt his TP really early on, so that's a really large wave he's going to lose out on. So really punishing coming out of JD.
XX, he's got the blast cone, but gets tagged by the undertow. Not in range to land another, but Mao was also there for the follow-up.
Immediately going back to the mid lane play, that's going to be a story for the rest of this game. Because if you are a Irelia, and you feel like you have to get the cleanse because of the 2v2 in the mid lane, you go with the Doran's Blade, you aren't going to be happy about it. That being said, it looks like
Curiosity killed the Cat.
Wow. You think it's going to be decided in the mid lane, and JD are like, it's not happening. This bottom lane is going to die repeatedly.
Man's going to push forwards. The Chinese version of Cat. Meanwhile, XX roaming into the bottom side. It's level 4. So Johnny, I like the attempt there from Mauser Smith, judging the Arctic Assault distance. But Clid will still get priority over these Krugs, and bottom side will continue to push.
And just look how safe Lu Mao is. Remember, of course, Rakan with the Xayah available to him has such a long distance to cover with his E. So that just means that he can just bully whenever he can, zone, get as much information as he can on towards Sejuani before he ever feels pressed to go back to the tower. So this is ridiculous to deal with, especially at a disadvantage that TOP has in the bottom lane.
And so far, JD off to a flying start in this game. 4-1, absolutely blasting them currently. What's up, Raz? You're holding your heart. Why are you hurting, Raz?
Chocho came back with a mana crystal. This is how bad it is. Of course, he wants to be able to get to his catalyst.
Yep.
So he can stand in lane for a little bit longer.
Of course.
But he's dealing with a BF sword. Double dagger. Loken. While he himself just has a mana crystal to his name. No resistances whatsoever, unless if you count the 8-minute stopwatch. which is anything a
Sort
little
of
bit
defensive item I need,
any
baby.
defensive item he has. So this is how bad it feels for Chocho at this stage in the game.
Yeah, best of luck to him. Oh, he's picked up
Oh,
the
there we go.
Ruby Crystal as well. Slightly less hurt now. Feels a little bit better.
I swear, the travel cost to go back to lane, go back to base. I feel like he's been in base longer than he has been in lane.
Yeah, he's playing Fountain Guard this game. It's not been great. That bot tower is also wounded.
The problem is in Pallet Town, or at least in Pokemon, you're supposed to leave Pallet Town and never come back.
Sure.
He's going back to Mom every so often.
Yeah, he's got to tell her about all the new Pokemon he's picked up.
I only know the 120 what now?
51
151?
in the first generation.
Oh my god.
Did you play Pokemon, Raz?
I did. I don't remember.
Amazing. Absolutely incredible. This is Raz and pop culture references. Anyway, Yagao, how's he doing? Got picked up the last chapter. Still has a pretty sizable lead over Korn following how that early game went. This LeBlanc is essentially unlocked. You know, I feel like usually in Irelia should be able to keep this LeBlanc down, but has picked up the Sheen regardless, still gone for a very aggro build. So there is potential if XX wants to throw his level 7 ultimate into the middle lane, they can do something, but Klid's just like, what did you say about my mid laner? Back up.
And that's the thing. With the Sheen, the key was supposed to be XX. XX starting the fight, so of course, Irelia can just be the aggressive point. That being said, now being pushed to the bottom lane, Klid is on the hunt.
That was a fast Olaf. Though he sees XX and he's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll take the ward instead. Minions are getting involved.
He rounded up XX to the bottom lane. It's not like he didn't know he was going to be there. He pushed him all the way from the mid lane down to the bottom lane and said, you're either defending your bottom lane or else you're gone entirely and I could look for a dive. So right now, it's just Klid being a bully. Nothing to see here.
All right, nice little dodge there from Mal back over to his ally. We've got Klid coming down the river. It's going to be an Infernal as well to kick us off this game. JD are absolutely Olafing right now.
What's your bet that the next one's Infernal? Make it quick.
It will be.
You chose correctly.
25%.
You chose the correct film.
Yeah, I should have answered faster so I could have gotten you to chime in there. We can have the next one though. What do you think is going to be after this Infernal?
All right, I'm going to say a Mountain Dragon.
Mountain Dragon, I think Ocean.
Oh, there we go.
Yep.
I'll take it.
Meanwhile on the bottom side. Again, XX is camping out.
Oh!
Bone Skewer. Uh-oh! That one missed. Choto's still going to push forwards. He would like to pop someone with his Demonic Ascension.
So yeah, that doesn't link. Now he doesn't have ulti. So Corrin's going to feel unhappy the moment he realizes that his jungler doesn't have ulti. So all of this pressure that the only reason he bought the Sheen so he would have the help with XX, not going to be happening any longer. He's just going to be dealing with the pressure that Yagao has been dishing him.
And Olaf's here once again. Gives him the axe. Clears out the minion wave. That's what the Trying Cat's going to give him. Give the Charmer a little dance right there. Do a bit of a salsa. Back away once againg. I love this tri-lane, Raz.
Feels
Big
good.
fan.
It's just so difficult for TOP because they've been only looking to pick off Mao because Lu Mao is presenting himself. But he's like, all right, I have 2 ways to get out of this. So all of the mana that you're expending to pick me means nothing.
I forgot there was a top lane in this game, to be honest. Moyu and Zoom, he's going to pop the ultimate. Just be a little bit annoying right there. And back away. Yeah, they're pretty much even on farm. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, still pushing in. This tower's very low. That's the goal right here. Mal finds a knockup, and that's going to be Cat going into his perfect timing. But Loken takes the opportunity to not kill the tower. It's so low. Depth from below, dodged away from. Well played to the bottom lane right there, and that's going to be a TP in from behind. Cat better skedaddle, better get out of there, because here comes Zoom. Sounds the Ornhorn, dodged out of the way, but it's Chocho who's under attack. Zoom slaps him with the hammer, and XX underneath this tower now by himself. Klid, he's coming, he's looking, he's hunting for some Cat, but there's no one there. He'll take a pig instead. Pork is on the menu tonight. Here comes Yagao chasing through, looking for the distortion, looks for the last auto attack, as clean as you like. Oh, maybe less clean, but he's still got it. And that's going to be another kill to the bottom side of JD, and also down Johnson's next turret.
It's one of those depressing solo queue games that you find yourself via TOP. Your top laner right now is silently thinking, just waiting for the 15-minute mark for me to spam FF and then be upset when my team refuses to actually FF. It's a stage you have, because right now, Moyu's been having a good old time. He's 0-0-1, but that's not been the case for the bottom side of the map. TOP is getting heavily punished by the fact that Klid's been having a great game. So 3-1-1, and Klid ain't going to stop. He should just track his duo lane. Loken and Mao are now on the top side. He should do the same and play that same game until TOP play an average fight, but it's not going to be in their favor. So take a look at this.
I'm looking, and yeah, well played to Mal right there. Unfortunate from Loken, because this tower's literally a couple HP from falling.
And my focus is going to be on the TP that's going to be placed on this ward. And only like 2 champions that you see that can really make this TP play happen. I'll add 3 as a rumble. But Ornn, doesn't matter how far away they are, the Ornn horn is going to sound and the follow-up is going to be there. So you make that happen, and you can just see how valuable an Ornn is no matter where they are, that you can track them down. The other champion is Maokai.
Uh-oh, speaking of Mal, he is getting blasted right here, brings up the Blade Cage, and that's not how you do it. Yugal jumps back into the Blade Cage, gets disarmed, looks for a chain, doesn't connect. Klid's here as well, just in case. The Berserker's hungry, he's looking for a new opponent. Finds a tag once again onto Cat, looking for Blast Cone, jumps over the wall, but we're taking the pig for a walk. Unlucky, gets chased down. Ornhorn once again, stampedes over Korn, knocked up again. Come on, I'd like to go back to Earth, please. Cleared, meanwhile, flashes away. No one dead just yet. Cho and Moyu corralling the enemies. Oh, Yugal with a big burst onto the Swain right there. Zoom, they find the tag, but he will just come in and slap the Birdman. He goes down. The rest of the team, will they defend Zoom? Looks like not.
Just stop
Irelia
it.
finds the kill.
Stop the fight.
Moyu looking for you. Oh, can't even use the ultimate. Meanwhile, Yugal assassinates the Cat. Looking towards Korn right here. Will be on the distortion if he wants it. Jumps back.
Just stop fighting.
No.
There's no reason for it. TOP, it all started, and it's going to be sad for every play-by-play that has to, you know, try and go at it for 1 whole minute as they're just constant skirmishing. TOP just tried to go in for vision. Right? We were talking about the fact that Klid, all he had to do was trace his bottom lane, because no matter what even fight faces them, they have so much gold in their pockets they're going to win. That's exactly what happened. So why did TOP challenge them? It's because after they realized that they got pushed back, Sejuani gets caught. And you know what happens. You've been in those solo queue games.
Oh, yeah.
That's the result. Everybody thinks they can save everybody, and no one can, so stop trying.
What happens in the end? Because we have this trade, and we're like, okay. All right, that's probably going to be it.
And so they should back away. But why are they coming back in when they recognize no one is low enough on JD's side to just move back?
Give me that wall.
They want this fight. So the moment this lands, of course, look at the other members. Korn is like, maybe I can save this. Of course, you're not going to CC an ulting Olaf. So he just disengages, has the help of the next member as Loken is now starting to come in for the fight. It's getting a little bit ridiculous. I wonder how long this is going to take, but ultimately, it's JD recognizing that they can win grouped up. Mao, Yugal, and the rest of them.
Oh,
okay,
bloody hell.
go.
We're going for another one in the mid
Wow.
lane. Everyone's collapsing in. Death from below, death from left, death from right. That's going to be multiple kills to TOP.
You know what? I don't know how that was set up, but good job.
Hey.
There we have it. You did it. Whatever you did, it worked.
So keep doing it. I mean, that's the Rogue Warriors approach. If it doesn't work the first 5 times, it'll work out the 6th time.
The key is just the Sejuani ultimate. So while in the bottom lane early on in this game, throughout the Sedge ultimate, missed because you're going for a recon. This time around, they found their mark. It's usually hard to get the LeBlanc for the same reason. Incredibly dodgy.
Yep.
Gets the pick
Slippery.
anyways. So it's nice to see that they were able to do it. That's their comeback potential. Play around that one pick off of the Sejuani ultimate. You have a lot of pullback to do it, so looking at Cho and Cat to be there with the Sejuani to make it happen. Let's see if that's the result of it.
What was the setup? Ah. I see.
Not exactly what they just didn't see the Sejuani coming from the right side. It's the only deal. Olaf probably wasn't there in time because he was in the area, which is why they were so confidently leaning to the right side of that map, but then saw the Sejuani instead.
That all happened a bit too quickly as well, to the point where even if Klid did turn up, he'd probably die as well. But now 4-9, and we were both wrong, Raz. Next Dragon's going to be another Infernal. 3 Infernals in a row.
So I said Mountain Dragon because I felt like the too easy of an answer would be a 3rd Infernal.
Yeah.
It's happened too often. Feel like we should really be questioning the balance team and what the RNG really is. If there are 2 Infernals, I feel like the 3rd Infernal has a 20% higher likelihood.
Can we get the global stat on that?
Get in there.
Here's Mao, right-hand side. Oh, instant flash away. Still finds him on the charm though. Korn looking for the duet, but finds it onto a Berserker. He's just going to charge right through it. He's seeing red, and he sees a kill. Another one into the top side.
Yeah, couldn't get the 3rd feather. Get the lockdown by Loken, but Kliz just said, I just have multiple axes. I'm just going to keep throwing them. Easy job for me. So, as I said, Klid is actually just going to be the accessory to the bottom lane. Nothing should change here. The only thing that should change is TOP, how they approach the situation. Because if you keep trying to ram your head to the 3-man top side, you're going to lose every time unless if you, let's say, you know Zoom's going to be in the bottom side of the map. If you bring Moyu more often, that's been the Rogue Warrior's way to deal with it. Then maybe you'll start finding those skirmishes.
Yep. I mean, ultimately, that's his the definition of insanity, trying something over and over and over again and have it have the same result. So how are we actually doing? Because TOP, they're evening up the goal total pretty significantly. I know that Swain is still on struggle streak. He is 0-4. Actually still hasn't used the stopwatch, speaking of which. No, we spoke about that one for like literally 10 minutes ago when it came up.
And he finished his Rod of Ages.
Hey.
He has some reason to celebrate. Look at the guy.
One
Feeling all
stack
cute.
on that one. I'll see you in 9 minutes.
There we go.
Hey.
He ain't going to die anytime soon. I mean, unless if they really throw in a lot of resources to get him. But he should feel confident enough for just scaling up to the 10-minute mark, for him at the very least. Get to a point where his Rod of Ages is stacked and he's going towards his Zonias. I wonder, he already has what looks like the Amp Tome. He's going towards his Zonia's second item. If that's the case, then that means that he can, even though he's far behind, that there's still use for him as a zoning force in these team fights.
JG, they're setting up in the mid lane. They've got a pretty sizable mini wave, by which I mean there isn't one. They've still taken out though. Loken will pick it up. And simple as that, they just rotate towards the mid lane and crack it. All outer turrets now down for TOP.
Easy peasy. And one thing about this is, of course, you get to the 20-minute mark, and if you find teams that really want to fight, the biggest bait is the biggest purple worm in the game. So JD's been a lot better recently in terms of playing the Baron control game, and with the fact that they now have the LeBlanc enabled, it's going to mean a lot more to actually play around Baron and have LeBlanc roam out a little bit now. She's in the top side of the map. She can continue to push out top. We'd have to see what happens as the game goes on.
Zoom, zoom into the bottom lane.
Okay.
We didn't see that. Zoom yet to use his ultimate. Mal coming into the bot lane with Loken, finds the knockup. This should be an easy one over to the Xayah. That's another one in the back pocket, 2-0-3.
There we go. I mean, this is a strong enough play that no matter where you hit that bull, you're getting the kill. But he was just, you know, BMing. That's what that is.
Exactly. Wrong direction. Up. Chocho, perfect time being used. Shelly's been dropped as well. Perfect time for Yagao and Klid as they drive it home in the mid lane. Here comes Mao and Loken. The cavalry has arrived. This should be at the very least an inner turret here for JD.
Oh, it's so healthy too that they should just lead it into the inhibitor tower as well. Should feel confident enough.
Looks like they're backing away.
Oh no, don't let it. Oh, there we go. No, it's good enough. No!
What?
Save
It's
it!
gonna be close. Ah. The eye opens again. Unfortunate. Keep your eyes closed,
Yeah.
Shelly.
If you want to save your life, keep your eyes closed. You don't need to see it. In fact, the moment you're about to die, you'd rather want to keep your eyes closed. You
That
don't
is
want to see
true.
what's about to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Just keep it closed. Though I will say that having
Like
an
tip.
eye on your back is pretty useful, you know?
Yeah, maybe.
180 degree vision.
I'm going to have to take a look at the eyes that Shelly has in front of her, because they don't feel
That's a good
very
point, actually.
large.
What? Eyes don't have to be large for them to be useful, Raz. There's
Depend-
many sea creatures which have small eyes, but can see better than humans.
I don't want to hear this.
As for Skiran, she's a marine specialist. Anyways, bottom side is going to be clearing this one out. There's actually a huge CS differential between Moyu and Zoom. Seems like every single time I see a play happen from one of the top laners, it's always Zoom.
Yeah.
And you can see it's 1,000 gold differential between them, because Moyu's just generally in the side lane by himself.
Yeah, Zoom doesn't want to sit in the side lane with Moyu, who's been constantly building up to split push. It's not what he wants to do. What's the point of it? Zoom wants to be able to impact the rest of the map, especially the bottom lane that's doing super well around Loken and Mao. So we'll have to see if that ends up working out well for Moyu, because at some point you're going to have to deal with him.
Shh.
Oh. Don't do it,
We're
Loken.
being very sneaky.
Oh!
Get out of here! Run! He pops the ultimate! Oh, he put in the fridge! Oh, misses the blade, blade cage right there. And now Korn's on the run. Oh, Cat's here as well, but Clint is sprinting after him. Yagao on the bottom side. Hello, he's found Chocho. Oh no, let me go.
There are layers of running here.
There are layers, like a parfait. Whoop. There comes the on-horn, and now it's just an all-out frenzy on the front lines. Korn getting chased down, XX soon to follow. Loken is just blasting everybody in front of him. He slices through too.
It's getting messy. It's getting messy on the side of TOP. They themselves are... Stop
Calm
yelling
down.
at me.
Oh.
What the hell? Anyway,
Stop yelling.
I mean, it just felt like one person was trying to get the hell out of there. Korn and XX are the people that started that play, by the way. They themselves found an opportunity to get on towards Loken, but he has a lot of ways to get out of it. Cleanse, flash, ultimate, uses all of it. And it buys enough time for JDG to counterattack and net them this Baron.
Massive stuff coming out from JD. TOP looking to counter punch though in the form of a dragon. Double Infernal is going to be very nice. Next one's going to be Cloud. Hey!
Oh! Alright, you're taking my job.
66%. That's more than 50. Yeah, so well played by JD. Going to be pulling a big advantage now in this game. About 6,000 gold. Now, the only thing that TOP really have going from that stage is the fact that they have the extra dragon.
Yeah, they have the extra dragon. At this point, of course, Moyu still has the blade. Like, he's at a point. Is if you keep him in the same lane with Zoom for about 60 seconds, he'll do some damage. But 60 seconds is a long time, and he's not going to be gifted that unless if they push back this bear minion wave. Oh no, they're sending 4 people to his lane. Yeah, it's impossible. It's not going to happen.
Not going to happen. Now, this is the point in the game where I say have faith, Raz. You're a man of very little faith, as I found out.
Take a look at Aurelia. Okay,
I'm
thank
looking.
goodness Aurelia is basing, because if she had taken that wave,
Would have been a me play.
doomsday. Yeah, it's unfortunate. He's going to be there. Let's
Don't
just-
be like Pulse. Recall.
Yep.
Go back to your team. Fight them in your base. Zoom's pushing forwards. Loken also just gets the free hit onto the tower. Same thing happening in the mid lane. Seems like TOP just kind of stuck in 2 minds right now and are losing on both fronts.
Worst case here is that Meganar is actually just being exhausted. So even if you wanted to fight in the next 30 seconds, you're going to have a very flaccid Gnar.
Yeah, it's not looking great. Bottom lane going to be falling right here. An inhibitor as he moves towards the mid lane. At some point, TOP will have to draw the line. I'm not seeing any line currently. They're just losing everything, and JD are going to be very happy with that. Plus, baking. Yeah, they just baked them so hard in that base.
Yep. Definitely baked. Not burnt at all.
No.
Properly baked. To a point in which you could tell that Moyu, not exhausted anymore, feeling quite refreshed from all of the baking. But a little bit too late.
No.
The issue is that now he can move towards his Meganar, but they've already run off and are setting up towards the next parent. It's getting ridiculous here for TOP. They want to fight, they just miss timing a lot. So we just need to look towards Moyu in particular, because he doesn't, even though we've been talking about the fact that he wants to be on the sideline and he's building for it, so he's incredibly squishy. He just needs that one play, that one Meganar ulti that can, at the very least, buy them enough time. It doesn't need to net them a kill in any way. Chunk down, maybe blow the resources off of your Gao's flash, for instance, push them back, so you can now play towards the next Baron. But at the moment, JD are accelerating this game. They don't even need to do that.
And you know, it just feels like a ripple effect, you know? A ripple that's turned into a tidal wave. A tsunami, if you will. Very problematic here for TOP. Oh, I had to feel starts in that mid lane as we have the aggression into the base. Throws up the ultimate Vanguard's edge, but that Vanguard about to get blasted. He jumps away, but Cat is in already. He's never going to back away. He will never surrender. He will go down in a blaze of glory. And indeed, he has done that today. Kill over to the team. Big ultimate coming out for the Gnar, but the team isn't there with him. Chocho's thinking about it. Flash forward from Clid. He's low health, but he doesn't care. He's a berserker. He's going to keep going with the minion wave in the mid lane. And JD, they think about the inhib, or they could just alternatively win the game. Chocho backing away to the rest of the team at the fountain. And JD in this game too, 26 minutes. So we actually trust trying to speedrun League of Legends. That's what it seems like. They're just beating the record here for TOP and take game 2.
Yep, obliterated them in lane and smashed them with proper macro, and there was no way that Moyu would be able to save it. So, though he was doing quite well on the top side of the map, every single time he wanted to find himself an empty lane, there was either a play being made on the opposite side of the map, or there were just multiple people in his lane. So it was unfortunate on his end. Thought that JD had an exceptional play around Yagao's LeBlanc. Well done.
I want to touch back on that ripple effect I was talking about. I feel like a lot of that did originate somewhere towards the center part of Summoner's Rift.
Yep.
And that may have been Korn.
You live by him or you die by him, literally in game 1 and game 2. So I wonder what game 3 is going to be holding. I will say that the talent ban is going to hold, because right now Korn has proven himself that he needs that talent.
Yeah, don't give him talent.
Give him Aurelia, I suppose. I would say if you keep the same matchup, if it's Aurelia versus LeBlanc, that is fine for the Aurelia. The only thing that I would change, really, is Doran Shield, teleport. That's all I really want.
That's fair. At the same time, Yagao also on a pick that he feels very comfortable with on a LeBlanc, something like an Assassin, an AP Mage, if you will. On the opposite side, though, I agree with the Doran Shield and also the teleport. The other thing is that Korn, you played yourself multiple times in that lane. He comes in with the Q, the Blade Surge, and just found a reset on the final minion and kills himself. And that happened twice.
Look, and if you're losing, lose gracefully for all you people out there. Even in the last team fight where he just went in when Moyu didn't even have Mega Gnar ult, he was very close to it. He was actually very close to getting the Mega Gnar. It didn't happen. Korn already got picked off. So I want to see if that gets resolved in Game 3.
Yeah, not a second time. No one does that to Korn 2 times in a row. For now, though, we're going to send it back to the analyst desk.
Thanks, guys. And now the series is all tied up between JDG as well as TOP. It was a different game 1 where TOP got a victory that we didn't expect. This time around, stock standing coming from JDG. They went back to what we expected them to play, which was around their mid lane jungle synergy. They got such a large lead during the early game that the rest of the match was just so far in their favor.
This game was pretty much over at 12 minutes, to be honest. Maybe even earlier. They were starting the game with like 4 kills against 2 deaths, and it all started from the draft. JD Gaming went back to what they were strong, just like you were said, and what they're strong is Yagao and Clid right here. Both of these champions for them have very high win rates, 100% for the Olaf, and Yagao has been a LeBlanc monster all the way back from his LSPL days. In the LPL, he actually uses the LeBlanc as a specific counter against the Aurelia. We saw him bring this out once more again. The basic theory is that you are an assassin dealing with a very brittle champion, and you cannot be stunned. If you play it well, there's no way that the flawless duet actually hits you. So just very, very strong lanes, very comfort picks for JD Gaming, and they run what they always do.
Yep, and it worked out well for JD in the early game. We will focus a little bit more on that jungle mid lane synergy later on, but the rest of the lanes were set up for success as well. Zoom was on a very heavy engaged top laner who was able to just nullify that lane, and the bottom lane was Zaya Rakan, something which we enjoyed watching for Loken in the bottom lane because he got a lot of support from Luma, and the two of them worked hand in hand to make sure that bottom lane was a one lane for JD.
Let me give the rest of the LPL a tip. You always ban Rakan against Luma. There are no exceptions. That is his best champion by far. And when things get tight, he always goes back on it. And it's just so hard to watch that lane coming from TOP's side. You look at what Swain was doing. He was getting a mana crystal at 8 minutes when the enemy team had a BF sword and double short swords going into the Storm Razors. And then he completes the Rod of Ages at 18 minutes, which means that he's not cost efficient until at least 24. An absolute disaster for Chocho and Cat in terms of the bot lane. I think they need to rethink their strategy, placing Swain in as the first pick, because everyone knows that Korn actually isn't a Swain player. That's one of my gripes about TOP drafting, is that even though you're first picking the Swain, it's not a flex pick for you. Everyone knows where it's going.
Even if it's not a flex pick, doesn't Swain still do incredibly well in that bottom lane, regardless of the matchup, or is Zaya Rakan just a matchup he can't tear apart?
The problem with Swain is that it's actually very weak in the early game. If you get pushed in and you get dived on, it's very easy for the lane itself to collapse. He starts with one of the lowest armor stats of any champion in the game, 24. If you look about top lane bruisers, it's usually like 36 for someone like Darius. So if that early game goes bad for you and can't find the kills when the Sejuani is waiting on level 6, then that lane is very volatile on your side. And I feel like TOP, they do need to match fire with fire. They need to have their own answers in the early game if they want to hang on with JD Gaming at all.
Well, something they have to answer is the mid lane synergy between Yagao as well as Clid. This is something we talk about frequently on the LPL because the synergy is great to watch on the side of JD Gaming. Was not present in Game 1, but Game 2, it was just a highlight reel of Olaf as well as LeBlanc picking up kills after kills and putting a lot of pressure across the map.
And you have to marvel at how good Clid is in the early game. He always smells out the early kills, has consistently had the highest first blood rating in Spring Split and Summer Split as well. Olaf is his best champion, and he's one of the only people to still hang on to that pick. You can see why. The early game is so crucial for this team.
I mean, he was very aggressive. He was diving in between turrets in the bottom lane, making sure he rotated and made sure that the skirmishes that we saw around the jungle were swung in JD's favor.
And this is, again, just highlighting on how JD won this early game. Clean kills, the first blood. Swain, even though he does come back into lane and does equalize the kill, a lot of minions lost already. And I just feel like for TOP, just take away the Rakan, leave the Talia open. That's fine. But Rakan and Rakan, Zoe, Camille, those are the things you want away.
Yeah, you don't want that Lover's Lane, the bottom lane for Loken as well as Luma, because Logan, very strong hyper carry. Lumel shaping up to be one of the best supports in the LPL. JD in general, strong in this second match. What do TOP need to do now besides draft phase? Because game 1 looked good. They were able to throw a spanner in the works of JD's team fighting. They were not able to do the same in game 2.
I think Core needs to show more picks because so far we haven't seen him play that much. We know he's only an assassin player really, but it's too easy to really target him. If he always has to show his pick first, I feel very confident in JD actually taking the series. Yagal has a very wide champion pool to do so. So I think they either need to go on the red side and conceal what they want to do with their mid jungle, or they need to show something new.
Well, they have to try and do something in game number 3. It is a middle of the pack against top of the table match. Lumel picked up MVP after he got his Rakan once again. It's what you said, Clement. Don't give this man Rakan. Just don't do it.
Yeah, 87% kill participation is the one that you really want to look for. He is the second highest KP player in the entire league so far, always starting his team on a good fight. So, you know, we've seen this over and over again. I think he's the best engaged support we have in the LPL right now. He's great on things like the Leona, the Rakan as well. You just want to break that duo up.
If he keeps up this performance, he could try and fight for another player of the Rift. That's what it's called. I can't remember what that series of Best of the Rift once again as he picked it up last week. He's trying to do it once again, but the game is tied 1-1 between JDG as well as TOP. Let's go into a break and be back with game 3 in just a bit.
相信这支年轻气盛的京东，相信过程。